Just listen to that fixed mindset voice. It's there. We all have it. And if you don't hear it, it will rule your behavior.
Simply put, your mindset determines everything in your life, yet it's one of the most complex parts of your development. With so many factors in and out of your control, it's easy to forget that mindset simply comes down to the decisions you make. Literally simple choices like how will you react to certain situations within your life, or what role will negativity play within your development, or what changes will you make to go from who you are today to who you want to become. As we continue diving into this series of understanding the layers towards personal mastery, the next teacher featured is Carol Dweck, and she's a researcher and professor at Stanford. And she says, why waste time looking smart when you could be getting smarter? Personal mastery requires a multidimensional approach, which we features in this series, from the energetic, the spiritual, the emotional, the physical, and of course on the mindset level. And with that awareness, today we're looking at the mindset layer and how we can go about changing the hardwired thoughts and beliefs and habits that we develop through our lifetime. And today's video is going to be a powerful one. It's going to be powerful for yourself and your own development, but it's also going to be very powerful if you're involved with children in any form, whether you have your own children or whether you teach or coach children. So in today's video, you're going to learn why growth mindset is better and how to spot when you're drifting into a false growth mindset. You're going to learn and uncover the triggers behind what keeps us within a fixed mindset. You're going to learn the myth behind talent and where, of course, all of us are born with unique traits. It's not the defining factor to success. And you're going to learn 3 powerful strategies to help you continue to develop your growth mindset. If you're new to my channel, please click the button and subscribe and click the bell to be notified each and every week when I release new content. So when you've done that, let's dive straight into this fascinating topic with Carol Dweck. I'm Richard Hussaini, coach, speaker, and here to support you along your path to personal mastery. And personal mastery is all about understanding your thoughts, feelings, and actions. And in this mini-series, we've begun to dive deep into the layers that contribute towards our personal mastery. And so on to today's video, part 1. Why growth mindset is better and how to spot a false growth mindset. Mindset is simply a set of beliefs around what is possible within life. And mindsets form our perspectives, and perspectives are everything. Now, Carol Dweck came to mindsets and really looks at mindsets from regards to how people perceive their abilities and talent. Now, simply, a fixed mindset is where you perceive your abilities as fixed. What you have is who you are and you cannot change that. Whereas a growth mindset is someone who perceives that abilities can be developed with practice and hard work and focus. People with a fixed mindset tend to see criticism as negative. They take that personally and they kind of reject it. Whereas people with a growth mindset will welcome in criticism because they know that's part of their development and growth. With a fixed mindset, you tend to avoid challenges and go the easiest route, rather than a growth mindset, you're open to challenge, open to new ways, open to the process of learning. Ultimately, mindset influences everything within your life, every decision you make. So whether that's problem solving and receiving feedback to how you overcome problems within your life. And the evidence with regards to why a growth mindset is beneficial, more beneficial than a fixed mindset, is overwhelming.
Search now with tens of thousands of students. First, finding that those who naturally have a growth mindset do better. We've traced them over challenging, especially in challenging courses like pre-med organic chemistry or challenging transitions, 7th grade, high school, college transitions. We've studied all of those. Recently, we studied all of the 10th grade students in the country of Chile, and 170,000. And we found that at every level of family income, those who believed they could develop their intelligence performed substantially higher on achievement tests than those who thought they couldn't. And the most striking thing was that among the poorest kids, those who had a growth mindset were performing at the level of much wealthier kids. But importantly, because those are correlations, we've done a number of studies where we have taught students a growth mindset. The idea that every time they do a really hard task and stick to it, the neurons in their brain form new connections and they can get smarter. And when we show them how to put that into practice, we have found that students who learn this fare better across challenging courses and transitions. We just showed that in a study of women in STEM classes at universities around the country. But we've shown that at the transition to college, transition to high school, and so forth. So teaching a growth mindset leads kids to take on the challenges, stick to them, and improve.
In the end, having a growth mindset is one of the major factors in how you perceive growth and how you develop within your life. Now, the idea of personal mastery, and linking this back to personal mastery, is recognizing that there's space to grow, there's space to improve. And when you begin to bring your awareness and your thoughts, feelings, and actions, you start to see, or you will start to see if you haven't started this journey already, is that the negative inner voice that we all have keeps on going. And so if you don't spot them, and you continue to listen to that negative fixed mindset, it's going to keep you boxed, it's going to keep you limited, it's going to keep you small. And that's what Carol Dweck, and kind of one of the perspectives I love of how she goes about growth mindsets, is that from an early age we develop our mindsets. And so with a growth mindset, we're open to new things, we step into discomfort, we're happy to do that. Even though it's uncomfortable, we know it's for a better solution, a better situation for us, we're able to grow. When we're in a fixed mindset, we remain small and our world becomes to shrink because we aim to stay in a safe place, because we believe that things can't change, and two, we're not open to receiving critical feedback. Now, of course, life is challenging, life is painful, and it's built into the fabric of life for us to go through challenge and through grief and through pain. But these experiences, certainly in my life, have forged me into who I am today. And I really link back to Brené Brown in another video that we did in this series, and where she says, weep, but don't whine. To me, that means to feel every ounce of pain, to be held, to seek support, to be in the grief that we feel, and then to use those experiences and to use those scars that we pick up on the way, inevitably pick up on the way, to grow into who we are meant to become. Now, talking about fixed mindset and growth mindset, there are a few areas where a fixed mindset is potentially positive.
Two areas so far in which a fixed mindset is better. One is sexual orientation. People who accept that this is who they are and this is who they're meant to be seem to be better adjusted than people who think I should be changing. And the other is aging. So it's nice to feel you can stay young through exercise and so forth, but people who run around nipping and tucking and the tummy tuck and the this, that, and the other, and it's kind of a desperate attempt to retain extreme youth. That doesn't seem to be so great either. But when it comes to skill areas, it looks like a growth mindset is typically more advantageous.
In order to develop a growth mindset, you must be willing and committed to be able to change your beliefs, to see things in a new way, to want to see things in a new way. But it's important to spot when we enter into a false growth mindset.
This idea, if it's good, I have it. So a lot of people are kind of declaring they have it, but they don't. They think it just means open-minded or being a nice person, or maybe they're saying they have it for fixed mindset reasons. I want you to judge me as being the right kind of person. So developing a growth mindset is really a journey. It's a lifelong journey of monitoring your trigger points and trying to approach things in a more growth mindset way of taking on the challenges, sticking to them, learning from them. Right now I'm writing something for educators that I'm calling false growth mindset. To tell them, no, you can't just say it. You have to take a journey, because we're doing research now showing that many teachers and parents who say they have a growth mindset are actually responding to kids in ways that are creating fixed mindsets for the kids.
Have you done that? Have you kind of pretended to have a growth mindset, yet really you know you're not going to change? Maybe you've told someone, yeah, I'll do that, but inside you're like, there's not a chance I'm going to do that. I'm just saying it to maybe get a connection with someone, or maybe to try and convince yourself, but the heart of you know you're not going to do that. And it's quite a subtle difference, and I would invite you to continue to bring that awareness within you when you do come up with a challenge. Like, where are you getting stuck, or are you really genuinely willing to step into challenge? And it's also false when you perceive that you've got growth mindset in every single aspect of your life, and that's most probably not true. And as you're going to see in part 2, there's a spectrum to mindset. So on to part 2 of today's video, uncovering the triggers behind a fixed mindset. Now, whilst most people tend to lean towards a growth mindset or a fixed mindset, it's important to say that very often we've got a combination of both. Now, in one aspect of our life, maybe our personal development life, we're quite open with growth, where we like to see opportunities for our development. Yet in other areas, maybe that's within our profession, maybe that's within a relationship, a friendship or a relationship, we stay quite fixed because we're bound by judgments maybe. Now, it's important to recognize and be aware that in different situations, our mindsets can shift. Now, you can have a growth mindset in a particular area, but then there are some hidden fixed mindset triggers that switch you back into a fixed mindset. And it's really important to uncover these triggers, because if we don't, they lay there unconscious and they'll continue to influence our life and influence our behavior. Now, uncovering these triggers can be done by asking ourselves these kind of pattern interrupts, these questions that stop our habitual habits. And so an example of these might include, what happens in your life when there's a setback? How do you feel? How do you approach that? Do you think you have a deficient way of being? Are there certain parts of you that maybe you don't like, maybe that you wish you could change? What happens when you receive criticism? Do you get angry, or do you get defensive? How does that show up initially? What's that first reaction? And this next one's a good one. What happens when you see someone better than you in something that you're good at? So if you perceive you're good at sport, or you're good at singing, or you're good at, maybe there's a particular area at work that you're known to be good at, but there's a new employee comes in and then all of a sudden they're incredible at what they do. How do you take that? Do you get jealous? Do you get angry? Are you judging them? Or do you think, wow, I could really learn from them. I could use their help and use their mentorship to help you develop. Now, there are many questions you could ask. It's almost endless you could ask, but one of the most important thing to do is, can you notice it? Can you notice that negativity, that fixed sway within your mindset? And so whether it's aimed at someone else, there's a judgment, there's a criticism. Whether it's aimed at yourself, there's a doubt in what you can do and your doubt in your ability. And when you do notice it, can you switch into a growth mindset? Can you say, well, this is something I can learn on, this person I would like to learn from, or yes, I can do this. Why am I telling myself I can't? Is that coming from me, or is that coming from something that was said to me when I was younger? Is that a conditioning that you're still continuing to live through? For me, this is not just a mental scan. I mean, it is a mental scan, bringing awareness to the thoughts, but it's also a physical scan. When I'm being defensive, when I'm criticizing, when there's judgment, I'm contracting. There's a contraction within my body, normally within my torso. There's some form of contraction happening. When I'm in an open, a growth mindset, there's an expansion. I feel an expansion within my body. Again, those contractions soften, my heart, my chest opens up. Both of these on a very subtle levels. And I've done 2 videos previously looking into these physical components of mastery. The first one was on interoception with Lisa Feldman Barrett, and the second one was with Dr. John Amaral, looking at the energetic layers. And you can find the links to those videos below. Questions around failure, how you deal with it, what did you take from it, are really important questions to ask yourself from situations that you perceive to have gone wrong. If we aren't bringing awareness to our internal chat, our internal narrative, and our fixed mindset skews, it's just going to continue to influence our life in limited ways. We're going to stay boxed, we're going to stay small. And it's simply bringing awareness to our inner thoughts. Now on to part 3 of today's video, the myth of talent. Whether you believe it or not, skills and abilities are malleable, and that's really important when we're talking about performance, but also our ability to navigate challenge within our life. Yet there is a huge myth when it comes to talent and intelligence that keeps people in a fixed mindset, keeps them small and limited. Now, I saw this firsthand working in professional sport, where working with the best in Olympic sport, the best in the world are able to see their challenges. So challenges could be injury, it could be they lose a competition they're expected to win, it could be someone gets selected in front of them. Now they see those challenges as opportunities to learn, opportunities to develop themselves, and they're kind of highlighting an area where, okay, this is where I need to work on because this isn't where it should be right now. And so there's this continual environment of growth. And so the people on the fringes of best, so obviously if you're a professional athlete, you're high standard, but there's a difference between the best and the very, very best and the people who are kind of within, everyone else who competes. That's just my experience. And certainly, people who are not quite at the best, they don't put in the practice as they should do. They're a bit more of a victim role. Things happen to them rather than seeing the opportunities. And it's really quite powerful to see at the top level of sport anyway, these mindsets play out, and they play out and lead to either ultimate success or nearly there. In hindsight, looking back and within that situation, talent, ultimately they're both talented. Both groups of athletes are talented. The people who win on the world stage, but also the people who are still within that professional environment. They're highly talented, otherwise wouldn't be there. But the differentiation is the way they perceive life, the way they perceive challenge, and the way they go about learning from opportunities, or they close themselves off because of more of a blamed, fixed mindset. I want to ask you, where are you today? Are you in a place within your life where you're deeply happy? Or are you in a place where you're unhappy? And if you're unhappy, what is keeping you in that position? And another question could be, why are you keeping yourself in that position? Thoughts become things, and opening your mind up to possibility creates an environment for something new to happen. That doesn't mean it's easy, it's going to be hard, but by opening yourself up to challenge, you're willing to step into new ways of being, and embracing that challenge will undoubtedly give you a new way of life. So on to part 4 of today's video, 3 powerful strategies to help you develop and keep developing your growth mindset. Developing your growth mindset and your personal mastery is a lifelong journey, because it's a process of continually bringing your awareness into your internal thoughts, your triggers, and to become more aware of what and how your thoughts create your life. So the first strategy I want to share is simply monitoring your mindset or your fixed mindset triggers. When you start on this journey, it's be gentle, be kind to yourself, and it's not about changing them straight away. It's just about bringing your awareness on that inner world. What are you saying to yourself? What are those voices? What is a narrative going on in your mind in any situation? You may notice yourself saying things like, oh, don't try this, I will get it wrong, or if I get this wrong, what will people think of me, or I can't do that, I'm not going to do that, I'm not going to risk looking stupid. And that's an example of fixed mindset triggers. They're the things that are going around in your head that's keeping you limited. So it's just a process of being aware and strengthening that awareness on what you're actually talking about within your mind. If you say to yourself that you're not good enough, is that genuinely the case? Are you genuinely not good enough to do that task or that job that you're criticizing yourself for? Or has that been put onto you by someone else? Was that said to you as a child? Is that said to you by someone that maybe is judging you? And even if you're not perceived good at something, does that mean you can't change? Does that not mean you're fixed and you won't be able to develop? Because of course you can. With practice and the proper practice, you can develop those skills. And any skills at all, you can get better at. Whatever that voice is saying in your head, listen to it. Absolutely listen to it, but don't act on it. If you don't listen to it, if you don't see it, they will continue to influence your behavior in your life. The second strategy I want to share with you today is the power of yet. So when you've begun to develop that awareness and you're seeing those inner narratives, that chat within your mind, the negative kind of connotations, the fixed angle, add the word, I can't do this yet. that powerful word, yet. And this is coming from research from Carol Dweck, but the idea that when you add yet onto the end of it, it's creating a journey for you. If someone says they can't do it, that's a final, it's a stop, it's fixed. But when you say to someone, you can't do that yet, it brings up the idea of that journey. It's a path. I can't do it yet, and I'm working towards it. The third strategy I'm going to share with you today is to praise the effort. Praise the effort for the things that you do. Praise the effort if you're around children or anyone else within your life. It's the effort that makes the magic. The whole idea of growth mindset praise is to focus on the effort. The result, of course, matters to a degree, but it's the effort, it's the process of effort getting there. I'll link that back to my old world in sport again. The best in the world are process driven. And all that means is they control what they can control. A fixed mindset would be seeing their competition as, oh, they're better than me, I can't beat them. Or the weather's not good today, I'm not going to do well today. Whereas a growth mindset would be looking at, okay, what can I control? What can I deal with? We can't control the external world, we can't control the weather, we can't control the people, but we can control what we can actively process ourselves. So within the sporting world, that would be looking at their nutrition, their movement, their strength, their skill development, how they get feedback, is it the right team in place? And they'll also learn from the mistakes. And so when they do that, and I've said the best in the world can do that really, really well, and their process is watertight. Does it mean that they win every time? No, it doesn't. But when you've looked after your process as best you can still take learning opportunities from things. You know, if you've done everything you can within your power and it still doesn't work out, so be it. You've done all you can. But there are still things you can learn. Be mindful how you react to the failures within your life. You know, see them as learning opportunities. You know, questions like, you know, what is this teaching me? Where should I go next? And should I seek help? Can you seek help from someone to help you get through those sticking points? There's so many different ways of looking at this, but there's always something to take from it. And it's impossible to get better in whatever area you're looking at without making errors. And because those errors are often, and it's cliche to say it, the failures are lessons. And there's always something to glean from and to take from to strengthen your process. In time, you'll learn and understand and see that your abilities can be developed. I think simply saying that when you come up with an obstacle, do you choose the challenge or do you choose the easy route? And if you're always choosing the easy route, maybe start to change towards the challenge. See what happens. See how life opens up. Because if you switch towards challenge, you enter into more of an unknown. And when you're in the unknown, new things can come about. Mindset is a fundamental part to self-care. And there's a free guide for you to download called the 4 Simple Steps to Self-Care, and the link is below. You'll learn really powerful prompts and exercises, reflection exercises, and how to switch yourself into a growth mindset. You'll learn movement, how to use movement to ease chronic pain, and there are video tutorials for you to use. You'll learn how to do 3 nutrition shifts to improve your health. You'll learn how to get the best night's sleep you've had in ages, and you'll have some detailed guide on how to use your breath to manage your state in the moment. Like I said, the link is below. It's free for you to use right away. So over to you. What have you taken from this video? What's helped you? What's resonated with you? What would you like to see more of? And if you haven't already, like I said at the beginning, please subscribe to the channel so you can hear when we release new content. So thank you for joining, thank you for watching, and I'll see you on a new episode.